Hello, this is Leech83, how we doing? Welcome to this new vlog talking all about Celtic, and today we're going to look into our opponents for the playoff round, which is called Hapoel Be'er Sheva of Israel. Now, I don't know too much about them at all, so I went onto Wikipedia just to find out a little bit more, as we always do. Now, before I get into talking about them, firstly I'd like to say thank you very much for coming to check out the vlog. Whether you're clicked on Celtic News now or This Is Celtic and then came over to my YouTube channel, or whether you're already subscribed to my channel, then I very much appreciate your support and thank you for taking the time to come and watch it. I usually just ramble on a lot of shite, whether you appreciate the comments or whether you agree with them or disagree on things that I say, that's completely up to you. I'm just giving my little insight. I wanted to do blogs in the past, but I can't write very well. I can't really talk very well, but when you're trying to write it down and stuff, I just felt like I was rambling even more, and it was hard to get to the direct point. Whereas doing these videos, I'm becoming a little bit less nervous, and I can just show you on the screen what I'm talking about. It's a little bit more simpler. So, Hapoel Be'er Sheva, they are Israeli. They are a team who have only been going for like, let's say 67 years they've been going for. They've got a stadium which holds about 16,000. It's a brand new stadium. It was only opened last season. And for them managing to make this new stadium, it also managed to get them their league title, which was their first league title in 40 years. So they've obviously had a little bit of money put into them, a little bit of changing of circumstances, but in regards of their European exploits, they've not really had much experience in the past to really kind of talk about. They've, like, back in the 90s, they played a group in the Total Cup, they played a couple of qualifiers for the UEFA Cup, and then a couple of qualifiers for the Europa League. This is the first kind of crack at trying to get to the milk and honey, if you like. So, the game against Sheriff Tripolisi of Moldova, where they won 3-2, that game is a very, very dubious game. Hapoel managed to get 3 penalties, scoring 2 of them. The other goal coming from open play, well, it was actually a set piece, sorry, for their second goal in the game. They managed to get that from a set piece. They played more than half of the game against 10 men, and to be honest with you, they didn't look that very secure. Just from the highlights that obviously was on the video, the goalkeeper looked very flappy, didn't look as very secure at all, and the defence doesn't look very solid. Now, having a little look at their team, it is predominantly an Israeli-based team. They have one Portuguese guy who's actually he's not actually kicked a ball for them yet. They've got one guy from Romania, two from Nigeria, and one guy from Brazil as well. Can't really take too much from that, but to be honest with you, the guys that they've got, they don't really, there's not too much about them, if that makes any sense. And to be honest with you, I was looking into their previous games, it looks as if they've rode their luck a little bit when it comes to getting to this game against ourselves. As you can see with their past managers, they've had one England manager back in the past, Jack Gibbons, one English manager, sorry, but apart from that, it's been mostly Israeli managers that they've had, and I can't really find much else to kind of highlight about them, to be honest with you. It's all just kind of, it's just one of those teams who have just managed to kind of get there. And I don't mean to sound pig-headed about it, but we should be able to dispatch this team without too much difficulty. The first game is at Celtic Park, and I reckon a 2 or 3-0 win at Celtic Park would be enough to see us through that tie without too much difficulty over there. I know that, again, it sounds a little bit pig-headed, counting your chickens before you hatch and all that sort of shit, but to be honest with you, if you want to get to the money, if you want to get to the big boys, you need to dispatch teams of this. I'd actually rate Astana as a much better club than this Hapoel. Again, no disrespect to them. Apologies if you think it's disrespectful, but I'm only being, it's my opinion. My opinion tells me that Astana is a much harder tie than these guys. Also, the trip to Kazakhstan was a much harder trip than what it will be to Israel. Obviously, it's a bit of a volatile area, but as long as we're safe, we should be pretty much secure. So I'll leave a little link to this Hapoel Wikipedia page in the description down below on the video, and I'll also leave in the description the highlights of the game against Olympiacos, where they got their one goal to go through, and I'll also leave the link to this video here, which is the game against Sheriff Tripolisi, where they won 3-2. I'll put them in the description for you down below, where you can kind of check them out. Not too much to take from it. But it's just basically a little bit of an insight, and that's all we can do, because before today you wouldn't have heard of this team. I certainly didn't. If you did hear about them, then good on you. But it's not a team I know anything about. It's really champions, but the first time they've won the title in 40 years. It's a bit of a kind of freak result, in all honesty. It's a bit like the Leicester win last season in the Premier League. Everybody expects the two or three big teams to be up and thereabouts, and then occasionally somebody pops up out of the blue, and that's kind of how this has been as well. But as I say, no disrespect to them, but the game against Astana, in my opinion, was a much harder tie, and one that I do feel we should get through. So hopefully, with the right attitude, with the crowd behind us in the first leg, we should get through this tie without too much difficulty. As I say, a good 2-0, 3-0 win at home. The second leg won't be too much of a problem. So that's basically it. I've done rambling on for this one. I will be doing a little league preview, which will be put up on Saturday after a few teams have already played their games, but before our game on Sunday against Hearts, I'll do a little bit of a league preview, just kind of talking about my thoughts and feelings for the upcoming season, and also potential other signings which we may or may not make. We've been linked with more players than anybody, and so far we've not really signed anybody. Obviously getting Kolo Touré and Moussa Dembele, but apart from that, it's all just been rumours and rumblings and failed bids. So we just need to kind of wait and see what comes out of that one. But anyway, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you very much for checking out the channel. If you've want to see any of my past blogs that I've done, then check out the links in the description where you can see the previous ones that I did regarding our other games in Europe and our transfer rumours and all this sort of stuff. Then you can have a little look at them in the past. As I say, I'm just a Celtic fan rambling on, talking to other Celtic fans. Hopefully you kind of like these videos. If you do and you want to see more, then I appreciate any support that you can give me. Any feedback, any comments would be much appreciated. And that's it. So, thank you very much. Hail, hail. Take it easy.